Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. It is a beautiful morning out here. I hope you all have as beautiful a day as it is around here. We're getting ready for a real fun day that I'll probably talk about tomorrow because there's just a whole lot in it. So I won't blow the preview on that. Uh, the video that I put up, was it yesterday or the day before? I don't remember what. When my days are kind of running together here, about secession. Uh, I got a lot of um, extremely intelligent responses on that, and it just bolsters my claim, that I have the smartest commenters on the YouTube land, and so many people understand it, with the exception of those two that I had to boot, who are just determined not to learn, but they can't be helped anyway. We all know people like that, right? But other than that, boy, I saw so many good comments on our previous difficulties back in the 1800s and secession and the war and all that. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that because it does pertain to today and what's coming our way. I think I just put up, because there has been so many, and let me put it this way too. Oh, by the way, welcome to all the new subscribers, both on YouTube and Patreon. And that's what I'm going to talk about. I'll mention that in a minute. Not only were there so many people who obviously are aware of the truth of that war back in the 1800s, mistakenly called the Civil War. Many people more appropriately call it the War of Northern Aggression. I would call it the War of Invasion by the United States against a separate sovereign country. And I think that's more appropriate. It was a northern aggression, but it was an aggression by the United States against a country that was not part of the United States. I can make the case on that. Don't worry, I'll do that again. I'll argue with Antonin Scalia on that, who I think came out with the most ridiculous, ignorant argument I've ever heard from a person who's apparently supposed to, or was apparently supposed to be so smart. But not only were there so many comments from people who obviously knew the truth of that, there were also, and I love this, there were also many comments from people who had not been aware of the truth, and were obviously thoughtful people and were interested in learning the truth. And that's the important thing, and that's what we have to deal with now. There are so many people out there now that really don't know what's going on. And we have to educate them, because had these people been educated before on this, there would not be the wholesale disagreement on certain things today. I know I'm a little obtuse there. I'll get back to it in a minute. For those people, and for the enjoyment and edification of those of you who already know, I've put up over on the Patreon site a lecture by the president of the Abbeville Institute. Now, the Abbeville Institute is a tremendous resource for Southern history and the historical elements of that dispute. Abbeville is called the place where the Confederacy was born and the place where it died. For a very interesting reason. We'll get into it now. I do cover this quite a bit in my books. I forget which one. I think it's the third one. Reversion, Revival, Renewal. I think it's in the Renewal. It might be in an Appeal to Heaven. I forget. And I'm going to address more of it in the one coming out, The Blessings of Freedom. And as we think about that, appealing to heaven, and the blessings of freedom, we should think about what really are those blessings of freedom. It's easy to throw around the terms freedom, liberty, all these. What really do we mean by that? And I think that we have to get that in our heads and get that clearly defined in our minds. What is freedom to us? Maybe I'll do one on that, because maybe my freedom is different than your freedom. I don't know, but I'll do that on a separate one. I'm headed somewhere else with this one. Anyway, the lecture that he gives, the president, and I afraid his name escapes me right now, the Abbeville Institute, is about why the South seceded. And this lesson, and this most people don't know, the miseducated in our society, which is 90% because they all went through public schools, and the miseducated think it was about slavery. Well, that was a way to get everybody's emotions all hyped up and to get everybody thinking about, things the same way. And it's nothing but propaganda. And it's the way that they've controlled a lot of people, for years and years and years and years. But watch this. If you, whether or not you already know, I think you're going to enjoy this. I think that no matter how much you know, there will be some things you'll learn in this. The Abbeville Institute is a tremendous organization. This guy is very smart, as you would expect him to be, being the president, and it's enjoyable to watch. And for you people who are just now learning about this is going to be a tremendous opportunity for you to start back at the basics and learn the real truth and basics of that situation. And to that, I suggest, if you're not on Patreon, I put everything that I put on YouTube, but I put a whole lot of other stuff, educational materials and some fun stuff and some music and this and that, but a lot of educational material over on Patreon for those who are serious. And everybody needs to, if you're not serious, you need to get serious right now, because things are happening to make it a lot more serious than it has been. Anyway, the reasons that the South seceded were, it's important to understand, because there are reasons that apply to us now. And I think a lot of people get wound up in trying to explain why we should do this, why we should do that. And really, the reason that he puts forth is it in a nutshell. And I think everybody should learn and realize that. And let's bring it back to some simple things that everybody can understand and then move forward on. Now, we are being run, and how should I put this? We are currently under the tyranny of the weak, the evil, and the stupid. Simple as that. We are living under the tyranny of weak people, evil people, and stupid people. And why in the world do we let ourselves get like that? Let me enumerate this for just a second here. The people who are running things in our country, those bozos that are in our government. Now, the people calling the shots above them, they're not particularly weak. Okay, but we can't get to the people above our government. Okay, and I think this is something that people need to start thinking about. We cannot get to the level above them. We can get to the government. These people are weak in that without the support structure of their governmental officers, their jobs, and the special interest groups and the victim groups that support them, they wouldn't be able to do much in life. These people are extremely marginal people. They are inept. They are ignorant. And if they hadn't gotten elected, most of them wouldn't be doing much out here at all. Okay, they need the strength of the corporate. They need the strength of the group. They need the strength of all of those victims and support groups to support them. Okay? Without that, they couldn't do anything. And so, it's easy to get a weak person. Have you ever noticed so many organizations that the president is kind of the one not really calling the shots? And you could take this, it's not just the president, it's the downline, the Congress and all that. The people who are really calling the shots don't want to be out there in front. They don't want to be taking the slings and arrows, right? So they find somebody who is so weak that they go, oh yeah, wow, if I were in charge, or if I were a congressman, or if I were a senator or something like that, it doesn't matter that these guys over here are telling me what to do. I'm going to be important. And it takes a certain weakness, a weakness of character, a weakness of spirit, in order to be sold that kind of bill of goods. So these people are weak, number one. They're evil, number two. If slaughtering unborn children isn't evil, what is? If overspending money that we don't have to put that burden on future generations isn't evil, what is? To take God out of the schools and out of the public places isn't evil, what is? To celebrate aberrant behavior, not just accept, but to celebrate it, isn't evil, what is? To construct an entire economic system to ensure that we have generations of dependent people isn't evil, what is? I could go on, and I'm sure you could too. Excuse me just a second. I hope you're enjoying a good cup of coffee while you listen. The evil in this world, and we know who is the author of evil. And we know that he's the prince of the world, but we know also that there's a way to defeat him. Evil is running the world because the good people haven't been fighting. Simple as that. Too many good people are taking care of their own business. Evil always wants to cause trouble. Good always wants to do the things they're supposed to. That's why the good always find themselves fighting out of a hole, because before they start fighting, things have already gotten so bad that they finally couldn't ignore it or stay out of it anymore. And so they fight out of a hole. The final is that they're stupid. They really are stupid. Now, again, not the ones calling the shots above. And you can say, well, but as long as they're calling the shots, how can we win? We win by kicking the legs out under them, right? You take out the pawns, and then you take out the knights, and then you take out the castles and the bishops, and finally, you get up there. These are the insulating areas between us and the ones calling the shots. Well, you got to get rid of the insulation. Doesn't that make sense? If you're taking down a building, if you're wanting to redo a building, well, I could probably take that, but I won't. Okay. These people are so stupid. You look at the people in Congress. Half of them couldn't get a good job if they weren't in Congress. Half of them, their FICO scores wouldn't let them get a job on the local fire department, right? But then come down into those little minions of the universities and the not-for-profits or non-profits, and into those corporate things like the hospitals. These people are idiots. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't have some kind of education that allows them to do a job that makes them good money. But when it comes to having real world knowledge about much of anything, they're just complete fools. They have no ability to reason. They don't understand the consequences of their actions. Now, there are some who do, and those who do are the smart ones, and they know that the consequences of what they put forth is going to destroy the country. That's their desire. But the others are just uneducated. They're just ignorant, and they are in positions of authority and power. I can't tell you how many just ignorant doctors I know. Just flat out stupid. Now, I know, now, in their field, no, they're not stupid. And I have friends. Who are doctors. Not all of them are stupid. There's a few who are not. But they are so wrapped up into their own little world, they have no clue of real world. They don't have any clue of how the government is supposed to work. They don't have any clue as to how our country was founded, how it's supposed to work. They have no clue of finances because they make gobs of money, and most of them just allow a money manager to take care of it. They're just flat out stupid. Sorry for any of you physicians who happen to be watching. You're either in the non-stupid group, in which case you're nodding your head thinking about your friends going, yeah, that's right. Or you've already gotten ticked off and left. So when you think about that, we are being run by the weak, the evil, and the stupid. Well, it's time to stop. And I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, and many of you have been banging this drum for a long time yourselves. But I think we just have to come to that vocalize that, and come to that realization that it's no longer possible to continue being ruled by the weak, the evil, and the stupid. And by just accepting that and viewing these people through that lens, I think that gives us the direction that we need to realize we need to go, and the fight that we need to fight. Okay, so this all goes back to what I was talking about, the one that I put up over on Patreon about why the South seceded. It's very simple. It probably needs to happen again. How that's going to happen, it's going to be really interesting. And I think it's coming. I think it should come. I think it has to come. I think that it's the only way that any part of our America, of our lives, of people who think like us, have any hope of reclaiming the kind of country we want to raise our kids in. And we have to accept that it's time to throw off, to fight against in every way we can, and to throw off the tyranny of the weak, the evil, and the stupid, and to stop trying to find, well, let me put it this way, to stop avoiding characterizing them in those simple terms. So, the choice is this: do we want to continue to be ruled by weak, evil, and stupid people, or is it time to throw off those shackles? We find it in our founding documents. I think it's time to start working towards that with a new understanding. So, go over, watch that thing on Patreon. It's educational, it's illustrative, and I think it simplifies things, and it tells us exactly, it gives us a good understanding. And I think I'll leave it at that for now, because there's more to this, but I think it needs to go on another one. So you all have a good day. I'm going to go out there and do things that allow me to take myself out from underneath that boot of the weak, the evil, and the stupid, and hope you will too. And remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And let's make those preparations and get ready. You all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.